Will Scarlet and Violet actually be difficult? I saw this line on the Pokemon website that talked about how you can traverse the world in any order and take on the gyms however you like, which is really, really exciting to see. But it also mentions that you're able to choose whether you want to take on a challenging gym or a gym in the town you're in, implying that some gyms are more powerful than others. Wait, does this mean that there is a correct sequence of gyms 1 through 8, starting with the weakest, going to the strongest? And yeah, you could choose to go to the strongest first, but then once you beat that, won't you steamroll the rest of the game? I don't think so, because of the way that the map is designed. I was concerned about this at first, but now I'm not, because just look at this map. The starting area looks to be pretty linear from the starting town right the way up to the big school where it looks like you're going to get access to the gym challenge. From there, you have 2 options of directions you can go, possibly 3. I'm not sure if that cave at the top leads up to the snow town. Unsure, but it does look like starting out of the town, you have a choice of going east or west. That means that there are 2 canonical first gyms that you could choose. These are the gyms that are probably going to be the lowest level, the ones to the east and the west, maybe the snow town as well. Hang on, you're telling me, Toby, there are going to be 3 low-level gyms. Isn't that like really bad thing? Sure, but it then also means that there's going to be several mid-level gyms and several highest level gyms. For the sake of discussion here, I'm going to rule out the snow gym in the top north because it doesn't make sense to me in terms of traversing the map. But you have a choice, right? You go east or you go west. And depending on where you go, there is a, I'm going to say, grass and fire gym based on the red on the Pokeball. You've got a choice of 2 early gyms, but once you've defeated those gyms, your options are to go either north or south if you've gone west, or north and other north if you've gone east. It means that there are 4 gyms that you can take on after you've defeated the first gym. There are 4 gyms potentially of a sort of equivocal level. And you might be thinking, but Toby, then wouldn't that be bad? Because doesn't that mean that once you can defeat one, you can defeat them all? And that's where I think that the challenge element is really up to you as the player. What order do you take on the types? Do you take Pokemon into the gym of a lower type? But there is another element to this, because Scarlet and Violet is not just about the gym challenge. It seems like the story is made up of 3 core strands. There seems to be, there is the gym challenge in which you are trying to obtain the pro rank so that you can then move on to the champion rank. And I am wondering if the championship is going to be kind of like the Masters 8 and you're going to have to battle other people with the championship rank, which might be like other champions. That would be cool to see. But that is just 1/3 of the game. The other 2/3 of the game, in which I assume your rewards will still be money and experience in the game, are the treasure hunt element, which I assume has something to do with the new crystal terrestrial Pokemon and exploring everything to do with them and these little crystal-like flowers. So I think that's going to be an element. And then I'm assuming this racing element, because there's lots of race courses all over the map. So it would seem to me that there's some kind of race coursing tournament. If you gain experience from each of these things, you would be so over-leveled by the time you get out the gate if you're doing all 3 of these things at once. My suspicion is that if you're taking on the gym challenge and you haven't taken on any of these other things, you'll probably be quite underleveled. If you've taken on one of those other strands, you'll probably be on about level for where you are in the game. And if you are taking on both of the other strands before the gym challenge, you might be overleveled. This balancing of the 3 strands, and with each of them presumably giving you experience, and I'm speculating a lot here, but with all of them giving you experience, my assumption here is that really this game is a case of how difficult do you want it to be. If you go out of your way and explore absolutely everything and do the race course and do the treasure hunt and you do all of these things before taking on the gym, chances are you'll have accumulated a lot of experience and have lots of cool Pokemon on your team and be able to wipe the floor with the gym. Though of course you could just skip the gym. I think really the balancing of this game and whether this game is going to be easy or hard is so very much going to be up to you. I'm sort of glad that there's not level scaling, because in the world of level scaling, everything is always an equivalent challenge to where you are, which is, nice and can really work, but if they get it wrong, or if you find strategies that are just broken, then there's no challenge at all. But here, you can choose how much challenge you want, and that's what's really exciting me about the potential of this. Also, everyone's run through is going to be very, very different. I was genuinely worried about this at first. I genuinely thought, hang on, wait, there's no level scaling? There's going to be difficult gyms and easy gyms? Isn't that a bad thing? It's an open world Pokemon game. But I think there's something amiss here. It's not really an open world Pokemon. I mean, it is, but it's not like you get plopped in the middle of the map and then told, choose whatever direction you want. There are still starting areas and later game areas. Yes, it is open world exploration, and yes, you can skip the gyms, but ultimately it's up to you whether you go left or right, up or down. Because of that, you'll never be starting the game at the top of the map. I know there's a really fun idea, of course, that would tie into like things that we've seen in Pokemon Origins, where Red goes to the gym and Brock is like, how many badges you got? Great, here's my equivalent team, and that's all programmed in. That does sound like a lot of fun and works with the lore of Pokemon, but here you've got a case of really Pokemon is giving you options. And isn't that something we've always wanted more than a difficult Pokemon game? We don't want an Elder Scrolls, that's Elder Scrolls and Elden Ring, an Elden Ring Pokemon game or a Dark Souls Pokemon game. That's not what we want. We just want the choice of difficulty, and that's what this game is giving us more than any game in the past. It's giving us the option of difficulty, the option to play as difficult or easy as we like without having to impose a silly amount of rules in terms of Nuzlocke or Monotype or whatever. We can throw those things in as well if we want, but the game naturally comes with a level of choice. I love this. This is so player first, because there's this mentality that like, oh, well, you know, kids have got to be able to play it. And kids can still play it. They can play it and enjoy it perfectly well. If they find that they've skipped a gym and they try a harder challenge right from the get-go, they might feel a great sense of accomplishment about that. But if they can't, they can always go back and challenge a different area before coming in and taking on this gym. This is the perfect way to do it. And I've gone from being very concerned to actually really excited. At this point, I am just fascinated about the potential of different challenge run-throughs. I actually think challenge run-throughs are going to continue to blow up on YouTube as a result of these games. With your friends in the game with you, you can race across all the different gym areas of the region. One of you going west, one of you going east. You can decide whether you're going to start with a harder gym and take penalties for doing the easier gyms first. You can make rules and penalties as you're in-world traveling around the map for your opponent as you accomplish things. Let's say you accomplish a stronger gym before your rivals and opponents, you can then force on them some kind of debuff that's going to make their journey harder, giving you a further advantage for taking a bigger risk earlier on. What it also means is that even if you do the Breath of the Wild thing and you rush straight to Hyrule Castle, right, you're going to rush all the way to the 8th gym or the final set of gyms right away, and you're going to go right to the end. Even if you are able to come up with a strategy to beat that gym, yes, you might be able to then steamroll over the first gyms and make it easier for yourself, though you don't have to use that Pokemon to take on the gyms if you want a challenge for yourself. But also, you're still not necessarily going to be strong enough to defeat those mid-tier gyms just because you had the one strategy that worked well. You'll still be on an equivalent level. And unlike Breath of the Wild, you can't actually run straight to the final boss, because you have to defeat all of the gyms, and I assume do all the other things in the story to get that pro rank to then take on the championship rank. So the final bosses are still locked behind a wall. I think, and my fingers are crossed for this could be, if you allow it to be, the most challenging Pokemon game. It's really up to how you want to play. So if you've got any interesting rules or restrictions for how you'll take on these gyms, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know what you think about those 3 arcs: the racing, the treasure hunting, and then the gym challenge. I think those are the 3 branches of the story. They try to be ambiguous about the other 2, but then it seems really clear to me on the website what they are. But let me know what you're thinking. And of course, so hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!
As always, a massive thank you to those of you who support this channel on Patreon. You make this channel possible, and a special thank you to the big patrons of this month, the Elgator, Jedruben, and Michael Hornschuch.